Are you in the market for a new van? Well, there's a good chance you'll have been inundated with thousands of options, both in the new and used markets. But today, we're going to be looking at two key favourites within the medium van section. We've got the Vauxhall Vivaro in sporty GS trim, and we've also got the new Volkswagen Transporter, a follow-up to a very successful medium-sized panel van. This one with an electric powertrain too. So, in order to find out which one is right for you, we're going to be looking at the features that they offer, the kind of driving experience that they bring, and whether or not they stack up as a day-to-day medium van option. So let's dive in and find out what each of these vans brings to the table. The interior of the Vivaro is quite a good place to be. There's plenty of practicality brought through large cubby areas up top and some nice deep door bins down the side. And I like the fact you've got chunky controls for the heating and ventilation. Now this van in particular comes in GS trim, and that means you get sportier elements such as the diamond quilting on the seats and the red flashes down the side. And though you don't need to go for that one, it does bring a lot of extra equipment, including heated seats and a heated steering wheel, which is definitely going to take the edge off those wintry mornings. How does the interior of the Volkswagen Transporter compare to that of the Vauxhall Vivaro? Well, I do feel like it feels a little bit more high-tech in here because I've got this huge central screen which has all of my key features, though of course the Vivaro does get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's just a little bit more impressive because this screen is so much larger. Practicality-wise, I'd say the Vivaro ever so slightly edges out against the Transporter. I've got some really deep bins at the side in this one, and I've also got a nice section up here, but it feels like the Vivaro is just a little bit more spacious. But I will say that because the Vivaro has a central column down here for your gear selectors and the Volkswagen doesn't have that, there's a lot more space for the person who's sitting in the middle because there's no central area for their knees to knock against. So when you fold this cup holder away, and I mean you can pick any area of this van and find a cup holder, you can see that there's plenty of space down the middle. Fit and finish, I'd say the material quality is just ever so slightly stronger in the Volkswagen up top, but of course the Vivaro has those very snazzy GS quilted leather seats which are way nicer than the standard cloth ones in this Transporter. Now the Volkswagen e-Transporter comes with a payload of just over 1,000 kilograms and a load volume of 5.8 meters cubed. Switch to the Vauxhall Vivaro and you've now got a maximum payload of 1,400 kilograms in this diesel version and a max load volume of 6.6 meters cubed. It's got a 4 meter load length too, and of course you can get an electric version should you want to, which will be cheaper to run around local journeys, but for those long distance trips I imagine that most people are still going to want the diesel. So how does the driving experience of the Vauxhall Vivaro compare to the Volkswagen Transporter? Well, of course the biggest issue to notice here is that we're in a diesel compared to the electric one of the Transporter, and immediately the diesel just feels more lethargic, not as quick and eager to get going, but it does have its upsides of course. From a full tank I should expect you'd get way over 500 miles of range, so if you're doing long distance trips then this diesel is going to be a far more pleasing option than the electric one, which you're going to have to top up pretty frequently. However, you could go for the Vivaro electric model, which again would be a closer rival in terms of powertrain for the Transporter and would help to bring down costs, particularly if you're doing inner city journeys or shorter routes where you don't really need that long distance ability brought on by the diesel. In terms of ride and handling, well, they're actually pretty similar. The steering I feel on the Vivaro is ever so slightly lighter, and that does mean that it feels a little bit more agile when you're around town. However, the swing to this is that when you are travelling a little bit more quickly, it does feel slightly nervous, and coupled with the gearbox which sometimes struggles to determine when is the right time to shift, it just doesn't all tie in together, but it's still more than adequate enough. I'm chopping along at 50 miles an hour now, and the wind and road noise are very well damped. It's actually not too loud at all, and most of that noise is really coming from the big capacity echoing around behind me. I will say that the windscreen is actually quite narrow, quite slim compared to the Transporter, and that makes the whole cabin feel a little bit more claustrophobic. And again, against the Transporter, that van has some nice big wing mirrors, whereas the Vivaros are considerably smaller. And while that isn't a huge factor, it's just nice having that slightly larger area to see properly down the side of the van. It makes positioning it just a little bit easier. But as with both vehicles, we've got a good range of cameras and a good range of sensors. So when you are positioning at slower speeds, you've got plenty of help on hand. Of course, we're comparing diesel and electric here. So when you jump in the Transporter, you notice that the acceleration is so much more immediate and so much more brisk that realistically you think, well, why would I want the diesel? I've got 200 miles of range here, and in the real world, I think that's closer to 150. This doesn't seem all that efficient on electric range, but having said that, electric vans are more targeted towards urban and in-town van users who don't want to have a lumpy diesel engine humming away in front of them, and instead use this van for shorter journeys where that 150 to 160 mile range is going to prove to be more than enough. It's got a top whack charging rate of 125 kilowatts too, and that means a 10 to 80% charge in around about 40 minutes. So find a quick charger, top up very quickly, and you'll be on your way again in no time at all. The Transporter continues its car-based feel of driving experience that it got from its predecessor. We've got nice light steering, and it does feel pretty nippy and agile in fact, but slightly better connected than the Vivaros. I also like the fact that this van has a nice upright seating position and a nice clear widescreen view of the road ahead. One thing that the Transporter does far better than the Vivaro is the wing mirrors. The wing mirrors are just so much larger, and they've got a nicely angled section at the bottom of the mirror housing, and that means I can see all the way down the bottom of the van, and it's really useful when you're parking or positioning the vehicle. Even when you've got parking sensors and cameras to use, it's just nice having that proper mirror there, and it's something that I wish was fitted to the Vivaro as well. I'd say the interior of the Transporter is ever so slightly more boomy than that of the Vivaro, getting far more wind noise and far more echo from the main load area coming through into the cabin, and that means it just feels a little bit louder and a little less relaxing than inside the cabin of the Vauxhall. In truth, I wouldn't say that there's an outright winner in this test, but it's more an example of the wealth of variety that you can find within the van market. The Vivaro, I think, looks really cool in this GS trim and has a highly finished interior with those quilted seats, which helps to make things just feel a little bit more special. Again, you can get this one with diesel and with electric options, so there really should be a powertrain out there for most people. This new Transporter, again, lives up to the name that is etched on the back. Its predecessor was so popular, and I think this version should be too. Much like the Vivaro, you can get it with both combustion engine and electric setups. So regarding which job you need it for, there should be a setup which is right for you. The good news is that you'll find examples of both of these vans available on Cazoo as second-hand purchases, meaning that you should be able to get an even better deal while looking in the second-hand market. Thank you for watching this comparison video of the Vauxhall Vivaro and the Volkswagen Transporter. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, leave us a like below and let us know in the comment section which of these vans you'd pick. Would you go for the Vivaro, or would you go for the electric Transporter, or would you rather an electric powertrain and a combustion engine being crossed over into each different van? Let us know in that comment section. And please remember to subscribe to the Cazoo YouTube channel, and you'll never miss a video because we will send an alert each time we upload a new review.